Hey traders, Raghee here, and in this video I'm going to talk about a slightly different way of approaching day trading the futures market. So I've got what I call a futures first approach, and what that means is the way in which I look at the market, sort of the paradigm if you will, is what is the futures market telling me? What are the indices telling me? And even the currencies to a certain degree. But just because I'm looking at those futures markets for the market's tells, if you will, it doesn't mean that I'm necessarily going to trade the futures if I can control risk in a better way. And what is that better way? Well, it's to use, for example, levels on the NASDAQ. Today we took longs in the NASDAQ, we took longs in the Russell at some of what I call the V-score lows. And you can see where that happened right in here. But I knew that these trades were happening inside the clearing range, inside that very volatile 30 minutes after the bell, where the market's still sort of trying to find itself, like a freshman in college. And I know there's a lot of uncertainty. So then what happens is I'll look to enter those with an asset class, options, that give me more elasticity, more staying power. And that's exactly what we do. And so I really want to encourage a lot of you traders to think, well, I'm a futures trader, but can't I look at the NQ and fire off some at-the-money QQQ calls during those times where I know I really would like a little bit more elasticity? Now, the question I oftentimes get is, well, why not micros? And yeah, the micros are fine, but let me warn you guys about this because I'm already seeing it happen. I've seen this back in the day when full lot forex became micros and nanos and everything else. What happens a lot, and I'm using this more as a warning, I think micros are amazing because they make the futures markets affordable for more people, which I am all for. However, it oftentimes ingrains very poor risk management habits, because when you have a micro, well, you can let the market move far against you and still not necessarily lose a lot of quote unquote real money, as opposed to the mini, which is 10 times larger. So if your risk approach is not scalable, if you don't say to yourself, well, what if I didn't have 2 micros, but instead had 2 minis? Would that trade still be something I would have sat through? The answer is typically no. So that's why I say I'm not so keen on the micros, but I'm then going to say, hey, let's go trade the QQQ, or maybe the outperformance in the XLC, or sectors that are heavily weighted within the NAS. It could be an individual stock, etc. So it's a little out of the box, but when you think about it, it makes perfect sense. And how does the timing work? Really basic, gang. Know the level on the NQ. Let that be the trigger for the QQQ. So I'm not really concerned about watching the QQQ until it comes time to figure out what strike and which expiration. Up until then, I've got my eye on the NAS. My trigger, in fact, for micros and for the QQQ calls are also the NAS. So one of the things that we do quite a bit of in the futures room is we day trade options. We were looking at Walmart today, Costco today, QQQs, IWM. So this is something that is futures first. But again, it's the paradigm, it's the view from which I'm looking at the overall equities markets, and then I can get more granular by saying, I might be better off trading an option here and a futures contract there. I might be better off trading the sector here or an individual outperforming stock and the option on that, because it's a better representation of what I think the NASDAQ or the Russell may do. Okay, so give that a whirl, see what you think. I think it's an approach for me and for our traders in the futures room that's made a huge difference. I want you to be fluent in all markets. I don't want you pigeonholed into one asset class. I want you fluent in forex and futures and options, because then the whole market becomes your playground, and that's what I wish for you. All right, gang, have a great one. I'll see you in the next update.